Hi, I'm Alan Szabo Jr. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Align TN70 Nitro helicopter. This is the kit model, so it will not come with any of the extra goodies, just be a bare kit model, no electronics. As we can see here, this box is empty. I'll show at the end of the video the electronics I'll be using along with the engine and stuff. We'll take a look here at the rotor head box. I got a pair of scissors with me here so we can open up some of this stuff and take a look. This has a M1 style gear. It's all CNC machine cut. We got landing gear. I think this one has a little more style toward the original T-Rex lineup. They definitely feel a little more sturdy than the older ones, but definitely a different design compared to the TB70, the electric 700. I would assume there'll be some similar parts in this, considering that's the kind of the new airframe style. You can see here we have the plastic mounts that go to the carbon frames. Then for the landing gear skids, that's how the TB70 is as well. So that's a nice, lightens up a little bit instead of having metal everywhere. All right, here we got the tail rotor. Take a closer look at everything. You can see it's got the newer blue style tail gears. They're a little stronger. You can see here that it's going to mount on the inside of the tail boom, again similar to the TB70 does. Clearly torque tube driven tail rotor. This also has the rubber dampeners in the tail hub, just like the TB70 as well. I really have been enjoying that new tail hub. It really dampens out any little vibrations that you might have. Your bearing carrier rubber, tail rotor push rod. Got our swash plate, very similar again I believe to the TN or TB70 as well. Nice and solid. Along with every T-Rex, they generally include all the balls and screws kind of where they belong. Always disassemble all this because from the factory you can see they're just finger placed on just so you can kind of see where they all go, and it helps them make sure everything ends up in the correct bags when they're assembling the kits. Got our main shaft with our multiple different washers to get the vertical play correct when installing it in the frames. Tail blades, I believe these are 105s, if I remember correctly. They could be 106s, but I believe they're 105s. Tail fins just keep getting smaller and smaller every helicopter generation. Pretty soon we're just gonna have a piece of wire. But the nice thing with these, at least, is being that it's a carbon fin, Align does the double mold injection to keep them nice and rigid so they don't flex and vibrate on you. Here we got the rotor head. Again, I'm going to assume this is going to share the same one from the TB70, which they lightened it up a little bit compared to the previous generation helicopters. Nice and compact, lightweight air hole there. But again, all these parts that are on here, they're not tight whatsoever. They're just there for packaging. Spindle bolts as well, remove them. I always re-grease the thrust bearings, even though I think they usually have a little bit on them, but never hurts to put a little bit more. Got our tail case here. all the bolts and screws, spacers for the frames. Got the gyro plate, again, similar to the TB70 electric helicopter. A lot bigger boom diameter than the previous 700XN. This will not be using boom supports. Tightly packed bag. Let's drop off some stuff. Here we go. We got looks like a main shaft bearing based on the size. Looks like a shaft bearing block for the pulley system from the engine to the main gear. We'll probably find some more of those parts here. Here we go. We got the belt tensioner for that system. From what I understand, the belt, it's not adjustable. You literally just bolt the assembly all in the frame, and then the belt tensioner does all the work. You don't have to try pulling it and setting anything. You got frame stiffeners, nice CNC red, another bearing block, and I guess tail servo mount, probably mounts in the back. Nice. I can't tell if this is metal. No, this looks like it's plastic, possibly. Maybe it's metal. It's black anodized metal with a plastic molding inside to keep it smooth for the swash plate ring. I think it's the first time they've done that in black. Usually it's silver. Here we got the whole clutch assembly and fan shroud. Fan shroud, not sure if it's any different from the previous 700 series Nitros. Always was, never had any cooling issues with the previous 700, so if it's not broke, don't mess with it. But it may be slightly altered to fit in the newer frame style. This looks like the clutch stack with the fan. Got our clutch liner in there. I know a lot of people were asking if it's going to be a metal liner. It does appear to be a metal liner. I never had any issues with the metal liner on the 700XN, so I have high expectations for this to work just as good. And you can see here we got our pulley. And this is the other pulley with a little belt that's going to run. And the reason why they have to do this is to get the balance correct for the helicopter, because if we run the motor directly up to that main gear with the new servo layouts that are right under the main shaft, you don't have enough nose weight to counteract the helicopter for getting a good CG. So by having that extra few inches, by having this motor push forward with the belt and then the drive gear, you know, back over here, it gets that weight that you're having to carry anyway, because you always have to have your engine, and you can keep the helicopter lighter and be able to get the CG correct. Again, fan looks very similar to the old 700 Nitros. Motor mount. I know Align advertises it's also kind of like a heat sink, because it's got kind of like cooling fins cut into it. Not sure if it makes much of a difference, but looks nice. A few plastic pieces, canopy mounting posts. And those where your receiver battery will go. Canopy hook that goes on the bottom, similar, looks like the same one from the 700 TB70. All right, take a look at the canopy. Inside this box, we got our manual. You can scan the QR codes to get an online digital manual. As I believe the online manuals, they have color and all that stuff, so you can see things a little better, zoom in. we got our fuel tank. I'm gonna assume this is probably the same from the 700 XN. You got, depending on how you want to route your fuel lines, they have 2 holes in the tank. The center, you can either run it through the center or you can route it from the side. I've always run it through the side. They give you a plug to kill one of the ports, and then you run one with the fuel line system out. I've always just run it from the side. I've never had any issues with that. Let the clunk line run kind of back to this back corner, and it can sway usually pretty good all around, no problem. Here we have the new canopy. The TN70. The one thing I can really say from these new canopies is they're just super light. They weigh practically nothing. Love these new quick release canopy clips. Nice thing is they're painted all black on the inside too. Got our Align shop towel. Those are always nice to lay down, so when you're working on a hard table, bolts don't just go rolling off. What do we got in here? Looks like Align ships a muffler in all the kits. I didn't know the kit was actually going to come with a pipe. I was not originally looking for that. Black pipe for the 105. Muffler screw's not tight for the muffler pressure if you're using muffler pressure. The 105 pipe will also work with a 91 if you're still using a 91 engine. All the mounting hardware for that. Got our Align 2023 calendars. I learned this from the previous unboxing that they tape the frames down. This time I'm ready. Here we see we still got our stacked frames. Oh, it's nice they put the rubber liner for the gas tanks in for you. Those can be a little bit of fun sometimes. When sliding the tank through, I always use maybe a little bit of Windex on here. Allows the tank to slide through easier without getting caught. And once the Windex dries, it usually kind of gets a little tacky so the tank doesn't slide around at all. Either that or just any soapy water helps out with that. And we got our upper frame set. Got the servo wire guides so they don't chafe on the frames when they go in through. Unsure exactly what this piece is for. Looks, I'm gonna guess possibly a base plate for the engine down at the bottom, maybe. Literally a guess at the moment, but that's my best guess for now. I did not go through the manual and check everything before unboxing. I just wanted to give a raw open box and look at everything and see what's going on in here. When I build my kits, you end up very similar to this. Throw all the parts and screws into a bin and just start building away. They have a antenna guide for any of you that use 2-wire antennas. I think the V-Bar has the 2 antennas for the V-Bar radio. The Futaba has the 2 wires that come out as well, so those are always nice. Spare hardware, you got zip ties, bunch of extra screws. Always come in handy. And we got our blade holder and some Velcro straps to help guide everything up. Got your Align balling tool. Helps save your fingers a little bit when you're tightening everything up. That's pretty much everything that's in the box of a... Oh no, we still got one more box. Jumping too far ahead. Yeah, let's see here, last box. Just slide everything out. Come with a set of blades. I'm unsure if these are 690s or 700s. I believe this paint scheme used to be for the 690s. Skid tubes, black end caps. Then we have our tail boom. Again, this is the first for Align with the Nitro series as well, going boom supportless. So this boom's going to do all the work. Got our tail rotor push rod and torque tubes in there hanging up. There we go. Our bearings, got to slide that. Always use a little dot of super glue in the middle. It's kind of stuck over there right now. I'll mess with it later. And then carbon boom. It's kind of a matte carbon. But that, I believe that's everything that's in the box. Here I'll show you guys what I'm going to use. I've got the new Align servos, the 830Ms with the 835M tail servo, high voltage brushless. Be using those. The nice thing with this helicopter, use a mini servo for the throttle. So the Align DS530 keeps the weight down a little bit instead of wasting a big servo, heavy servo on the throttle. Be using the Futaba GY or CGY 760R all in one unit. We'll be using the T16IZ. Been using this for a little while now. Love this radio. And then I've got my 105. This came out of my 700XN, so a little dirty and beat up from the flying and crashes, but she's ready to go. So that concludes the video of everything I found in the box. I hope you guys enjoy it, and hopefully I can get it flying here shortly. Have a good one.